Hey everybody, and welcome back to lesson 2 of building an ensemble character. Today's lesson is going to be focused on physicality, so how you move as your character. We have not as much to do today as we did in lesson 1, but definitely a lot. So make sure you have your notebook and your pencil so you are ready to take notes and do your writing prompts. And also make sure you are in a space where you can move around. You're not like somewhere where you can only go side to side. You need to be able to walk around the room you're in a little, so make sure you're in a good space. So go ahead and pause this video when you have your notebook and you're in a safe space. Go ahead and press play again. All right, so the first thing we need to do in our physicality lesson is figure out what your character looks like. Now some of you may be thinking, Kayla, it's me, so it looks like me. Kind of. Yes, the base of your character is obviously going to look like you, but through the magic of theater and costumes and makeup and how you hold yourself and carry yourself, you can make your character look a little different from you. So remember that there are things that we can change by doing hair and makeup and costuming, and things that we can change just by our posture that will impact how our characters look. So it's okay if your character looks a little different than just you. That's okay. That means it's a person other than you. So that's totally fine. So what you need to do is take a few minutes and write about what your character looks like. Write about their features, their physical features, their face, their hair color, how they like to dress maybe even, right? Write those basic things about your character. Maybe sketch your character out if that's easier for you than writing a description, all right? So go ahead and pause the video, take a few minutes to jot down some things about how your character looks, maybe draw a picture, and once you have that figured out, go ahead and press play again. All right, so now we're gonna bring back some information from yesterday. We're gonna talk about the way that the basic things about your character impact how they move. So the first one that we're gonna talk about that will majorly impact how your character moves is, their age. Age greatly impacts how people move. You move now at however old you are differently than you did when you were 2 years old. And you'll move differently when you're 75, right? I am 25 years old. I know I normally don't tell you guys that, but today I'm telling you, I'm 25 years old. I move differently now as a 25-year-old adult than I did when I was just 15, than I did when I was 5. And I'll continue to be moving differently as I grow older. Your age determines a lot about how you move, how you carry yourself, what your posture is like. If you were older, maybe your posture is a little more shrunken in. If you were really, really young, you maybe don't know what to do with your limbs. You're kind of like a toddler. Have you ever seen a toddler move around a room and they like touch everything because they don't know what to do with their hands? So age greatly determines how you move. So you're going to want to think about how old they are. The next thing that you need to think about when you think about how your character moves, that we talked about yesterday, is their hobbies. Now this one might seem weird, but think about the things you like to do in your free time. If you're a dancer, that impacts how you move. If you play football, that impacts how you move. If your favorite thing in the world to do is sit on your couch and read a book, that's going to impact how you move too. The things that you do in your life greatly impact how you carry yourself. A ballerina is going to move differently than a football player, is going to move differently than someone who's never played a sport in their life. So think about the things they like to do and how that might impact their movement. Some of it might be in a small way. Say your character really likes to knit. Their fingers might hurt. They might fidget with their hands a little more because their hands hurt from holding knitting needles all day. Right? There's different things about hobbies that can impact the way you move your body. The next one is kind of a big, altogether blob, but it falls into these 3 areas. Their job, their education, and their social status. So, job kind of goes back to the same thing as hobbies, right? Sometimes you have something you do in your job that impacts the way you move the rest of your body, right? If you're someone who does physical labor all day, that's going to impact how you move, A, while you're working, and B, after work is done. So that's one reason. The other reason why these things might matter is your social status. The unseen things about you are going to impact your confidence. They're going to impact how people see you, and how people see you sometimes reflects in how you move, right? If you think people are always looking at you, you might be a little more closed in, unless you really like that, in which case you're gonna be totally open to the world, like, yes, look at me, here I am, right? So those inner things about you that people can't really see are going to impact what they see physically. So think about those things about your character. So now I want you to thinking about all of these things and the physical appearance of your character. I want you to pause this video and take a few minutes to jot down some things about how you think your character moves. All right, what kind of movements do they do when they're not thinking about it? How do they walk? How do they stand? So go ahead and write those things down. And when you're done, press play on the video. All right, welcome back. Now we're actually gonna do some moving. You're going to get up out of your seat, move your body around a little bit, shake it out. We haven't been doing a lot of movement during these times unless you've been out running every day. So shake out your body, stand up. Now right now I want you to stand in actor neutral. Get into actor neutral, which you can't really see because you can't see my full body, but my feet are hip and shoulder width apart, so it's like a straight line down my body. My arms are at my side. They're not, well, they're kind of because my sleeves are too long, but they're not tucked in sleeves or pockets. They're just out at my side. I'm standing straight with my shoulders rolled back. My head is up. I am ready to do anything on stage. This is actor neutral. All right, some people call it an A-frame. I call it actor neutral. Most people I know call it an actor neutral. So that's how we're gonna refer to it. So everyone, I want you to stand in actor neutral. So roll those shoulders back. Make sure your hands aren't in your pockets. Make sure your feet are just a little farther apart. Not like, we don't wanna be like in the splits. Just shoulder hip width apart. And we're standing ready for anything. All right, now I'm gonna count backwards from 10. And when I get to 0, I don't want you to be standing in actor neutral anymore. I don't want you to be standing like yourself. I want you to be standing like your character. So while I'm talking right now and then when I start counting, I want you to be thinking, how does your character stand when they're just there? Say they're standing in a crowd. Say they're just waiting in line. How does your character just naturally stand? What is their neutral? Actor neutral is not how I naturally stand, right? That's how I stand when I'm at attention and I'm ready to go. But that's not how I stand when I'm just waiting. When I stand and I'm just waiting, my sleeves are usually covering my hands because I got short arms. I'm usually popping a hip. My shoulders usually aren't rolled back. My head's usually still up, but it moves a little more freely, right? This is natural. This is Kayla neutral, right? Not actor neutral. This is Kayla neutral. So I want you to start in actor neutral. Now find your neutral. So that's not from actor neutral to Kayla neutral. And now you're gonna find your character's neutral. So I'm gonna start counting back from 10 and you're gonna think about how do their hands rest? How do they carry their head, their shoulders, their hips? Where do they balance their weight? How do they like stand always confident with their chest out? Are they a little more pulled in? I want you to think about how their body just naturally stands when they're just standing somewhere. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start counting back. Use these 10 seconds to think about it and slowly start to move into your character's neutral. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And you should be in character neutral. All right. Stand in your character's body for a little bit. Feel how that feels. How is it different than your neutral? How is it different from actor neutral? Then I want you to pause this video and take a minute to just journal about it. Write about how your character naturally stands and how that felt. When you're done writing, press play and be ready to move. So make sure there's nothing around you. Okay, so this next activity we're gonna do, you've probably done rehearsal with me before, and it's going to involve walking around as your character. Now this is based off of a theater technique called viewpoints. It's like very, very inspired by viewpoints. It's like viewpoints light, I will say. But I don't want you to worry about what viewpoints is. I want you to worry about how you are going to move as your character. This is just my point of reference, and for some of our older students, maybe you want to look into the actual technique that is viewpoints. Some of you will be learning it when you go off to college. So I just wanted to give you that inspiration what this is. So it's going to talk a lot about how we move and how we physically explore a space when we're acting. So right now I want you to, I'm going to ask you in a second to move through the space you're in, maintaining soft focus. And you're like, Kayla, those are a lot of words I don't understand. That is okay. Soft focus is a way of viewing a space around you where you are not like sharp focusing on anything. Right now when I'm filming this video, I am focused on my camera, right? I can see my camera fully in front of me and it's very clear. Everything else around, I can see it's there, but it's fuzzy. What soft focus is a way that you can see everything around you without focusing in on anything. So it causes you to kind of relax your eyes so that nothing is in that sharp, super clear focus, but you can still kind of tell in the space where everything is. I could know when I'm in soft focus, which let me just get back in actor neutral and shift into soft focus. I can see my camera, but my camera is not like the thing I'm zoning in on, right? I can see, I have a poster on my wall right there. I can see it, but it's not the thing I'm focusing on. So when you're moving throughout the space, I want you to keep soft focus, A, to keep yourself safe so you see where everything is, and B, so you don't make an object your intention. This isn't about a specific object, it's about just your body moving, how it moves in any space. So there's gonna be times I ask you to move like you're late for something. I don't want you to find something that's the thing you're looking for. I want you to just move through the world. Even if you think you have a destination, you're not gonna have a destination, you're just gonna be moving throughout the space. So I want you to try now. You're gonna face your computer or TV or phone, whatever you're watching me on, and you're not going to focus on me. I don't want you to focus on my face. I want you to just let your eyes relax and see everything around you. Feels kind of weird, doesn't it? It feels a little weird at first. You get used to it. It took me a whole year of college to get used to soft focus. So we are going to go ahead and start, and you're going to start walking around the space in your character's body. So start walking. I'm going to give you instructions while you're walking. Don't stop walking until I tell you to. Walk around the space in your character's body. You're just walking at their normal pace. The pace that they would walk in if they weren't in a rush. They weren't in a weird mood, just neutral. They're neutral. You're just walking around the room. This is their normal pace. Now I want you to shift your movement to be like your character was having a bad day. So how does this change how they move through the space? How does this change their tempo? How does this change their posture? Move through the space as if they're having a bad day. And finally, I want you to move through the space as though your character is running really late for work. They're gonna be really late for work. How does that change your tempo? How does that change your posture? Think about all those things and move through the space as if your character is late for work. Now shift back into your character's neutral walk. All right, have a seat or stand, however you want to be. You're at home, it's your space. I can't tell you what to do. All right, so we've kind of worked through some basics today of how your character moves. This is only the tip of the iceberg of what you could do for movement, right? There are so many things you could work on. You could dive deeper into the small movements, so maybe how they like brush their hair out of their face. Do they have any like fidgets? What do they do with their hands when they're in just any space? And these are some things that we can think about before we move on. So in between this lesson and when we get to our dive deep lesson 5, I want you to be thinking of some of those things. What are the more specific movements your character does? And when we get to lesson 5, we'll kind of dig into those a little bit more. All right, so that is your second lesson of building an ensemble character. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in lesson 3, where we are going to dive into relationships.